Shoots and Scores Hockey Talk, where we talk everything hockey. I am John.
I'm Mike.
I'm Chris.
All right, gentlemen, let's go. So the first topic on the agenda for this evening is the Olympic hockey. And that's pretty much going to be what we're going to talk about most of this episode, hockey, the Olympic hockey in general. I want to know what both of you thought of the Olympic hockey overall. Okay, I mean, we only get to see this now once every 4 years, hopefully, or maybe you don't think. Hopefully, was it entertaining? Was it as entertaining as the NHL for you guys? Is there anything about the Olympic hockey that you would change? Now we're going to start with Mike. What do you think? How much of the Olympic hockey did you actually watch?
I watched a pretty good amount of it for what I was able to when I wasn't working. It kind of sucked that a lot of these games were early
During
in
the
the
day.
morning, so I did kind of have to watch some highlights and that sort of stuff to uh, keep ahead of where it was at. So, but from what I saw, I mean, I liked the games. I mean, they were very competitive. A lot of games were closer than I thought they would be. There wasn't a huge amount of blowouts. Um, so you want me to get into the things that I didn't like about it right now? Or
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Yeah.
all right, so the 3-on-3 overtime. I mean, I'm not a fan of that for this style of play. For NHL, when you're playing an 82 game season, I get it. I understand it. However, for such a short tournament, I don't think they should be doing 3-on-3. In my opinion, they should, worst case scenario, do the hybrid one that has been talked about, that they play 5-on-5 for 5 minutes, then 4-on-4, then 3-on-3 type of thing. So something to that effect. I mean, I could live with that, but I prefer the 5-on-5 overtime when you're getting uh, these type of caliber of players playing. Because going into the final, I mean, I knew that Canada was going to have a hard time if it went to 3-on-3 overtime, just because of the perceived discrepancy between the goaltending. So but overall, I like the tournament. I'm glad to see NHL players back playing, and hopefully it will continue moving forward.
Chris, what did you think? Did you get a large dose of Olympic hockey? What did you think of it?
Yeah. Well, since I'm working from home, I had a lot of the games going on in the background, so I was
Right.
watching, especially when, 'cause of course, I have a vested interest in what's going on with Finland and some other teams. Um, yeah, it when you get this best on best, I know a lot of people don't agree, but it's so much better than the NHL. The speed of the game, right? Everything is happening so much faster when you have all these top guys going against each other. And it's also a reality check when you see some really, really good players struggling, trying to stay with how fast this game is going. Um, it's really good. And I think the other thing that we don't really, I think here in Canada or North America, we don't really appreciate is there's a lot of guys in Slovakia and the Czech Republic that aren't NHL guys, and they treat the World Championships and the Olympics as their Stanley Cup, right? That's
Right.
their goal when they're playing as kids and moving up the ranks. And that Slovakia team, like they had 3 or 4 NHL guys, and the rest, and even some of those NHL guys are well, we would classify as not very good players or bums, right? Um, but they had these no-name guys, and they are just busting their ass off, right? Playing and scoring and doing all kinds of stuff, right? And you really appreciate the Olympics and what it means, mostly for European countries. Um, yeah, it was very good. The speed, you just can't. When you go back to NHL, you start watching, you're like, oh my lord, like it's more like they're skating in molasses, right? Um, so yeah, I'm a big fan of the best on best. I really enjoy it, and anything would change. Yeah, I was aware. I know before the Olympics started, I took a look at what the overtime rules were, and I saw the 3-on-3 and blah 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 going down. Um, I understand why the Olympics did it, but really the gold medal, even the bronze medal game, should be 5-on-5 until the golden goal someone scores. Uh, but I understand there's issues with timing. They have to have this done. This isn't like a Four Nations where this is the only event, right? They got other events happening, right? And they've got to move on to skiing and snowboarding, whatever else they got to do. So I understand why they have to force it into a time slot. But yeah, I think the gold and bronze, it should be 5-on-5 until someone scores a goal, just like the NHL does in the playoffs. Before that, I'm fine with 3-on-3, right? You got 60 minutes. If you can't figure it out, go. But gold and bronze, to me, that should be a change. Anything else was good, right? They had all the teams had 3 games to get their feet wet and playing in those games before you're basically elimination games, and I like that format overall.
I wasn't too happy about the refereeing. Sometimes I was like, man, really? Rolling my eyes. I know we say that in the NHL too, but the whole, 6 man on the ice, the whole play and score and 6 people celebrating thing, I'm like, how the hell did these guys not notice this? But
I did not notice it as the game was going. I never saw it until afterwards. But everyone's like, "I've got a picture of 6 guys in there. I got 8 guys." I'm like, "What?"
yeah,
I didn't even notice it either.
well, yeah, but the referees are out there. They should be noticing
They're
this.
they're
I mean,
paid to notice that.
they're paid to
Yes,
notice it.
they're paid to notice
They're not
all
going to
those
notice
things.
it on a TV screen, probably, unless an announcer points it out,
Yeah,
which they didn't. But anyway, but yeah, the hockey was great. The best on best is awesome. I wish we saw more of this. And yes, now that the NHL is back, I imagine, especially certain teams are going to be worse than others. These third and fourth lines are going to look like slow molasses. Like, oh my goodness, what the hell are these guys? Do they even have skates on? I'm sure some of them. It's just going to look so awful.
yeah. It's the watered down effect of expansion, right? I think
Yep.
yeah, the game is growing in the other, the countries in Europe and stuff. We got more players, but there's still a big divide between superstars and yeah, third and fourth liners. Right? It
Oh yeah.
really sticks out.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go on to our second topic, more about Olympic hockey here. The gold medal game between Team Canada and Team USA, and I'm sure as everyone who's listening to this knows, Team Canada lost 2-1 in overtime, like we were just talking about. I want to talk about the game now, guys. What did you both think about this game? Did Team Canada do anything wrong that cost them the game? What do you think, Chris? And you can go as deep here as you want, or just say no, everything's great.
Yeah. So first off, hockey is still Canada's game, no matter what the result was from that game. Canada still has the best players in the world. All Canada didn't do was put the puck in the net. I know it sounds pretty simple, but that was it. They had some chances. They had breakaways. They just couldn't put it in. But what everyone saw with their eyes and what the analytics proved afterwards was that Canada dominated. And I'll admit I was a little surprised how they dominated the Americans, right? Because on paper we've been saying the last few years, oh, America could be better. Americans could be better. And they go on the ice, and Canada, Four Nations, to me, they were the better team, and in the Olympics, they were the better team. Um, where were the Chucks? Like, what did they just went out there for a little skate? Like, there was a lot of no shows on that team, and but Hellebuyck held them in. He made some saves. Canada also missed a couple open nets. Overall, you can't be upset with the effort of Team Canada and how they played and what they did. It just puck luck wasn't going their way, and I think the analytics said it was 6-2 was the expected goals for Canada versus the U.S.
Yeah, 5.9
Um,
something or whatever it was.
yeah. So the Americans, did they win the game? Yes. Can they brag about being the Olympic champions? Yes. Are they the best team in the world? No. No. They need to get a reality check. It's still Canada. And you look going forward, the last few drafts, we've got Canadian franchise players coming out, and we've got another 2 potentially in this draft. So I think this is the Americans' golden generation, even though I don't think they reach Canada's heights. And in 4 years' time, hopefully Canada exacts revenge and takes over top spot again. Of course, maybe the Russians will be back potentially. Takes
I'm
one guy
hoping.
named Putin to do something. But I know the Russian players are complaining about not being here. And I'm like, you got one guy to blame on this, boys. So go talk to him. But yeah, that's my opinion on Canada hockey and how it went.
Mike, what do you think? Do you agree with Chris, or is
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
totally off base?
He pretty much hit everything the same as what I would have said. The disappointing part of it is those open nets that we missed, like McKinnon and Taves. Like you gotta bury those. Those are gimmies. Like you gotta put those in the net, and that's the difference. Bennington played as well as better than what I was expecting him to play. So
Now, don't talk too much about the
no,
goalies
no,
here.
I'm not. I'm
Going
not
to be
going
the
to get
next
too much
question.
into that. But
Okay.
you put any other goalie in that net other than Hellebuyck, and I think the result is different. He played excellent. Taves should have scored. Hellebuyck gets a stick behind him and stopped it. Watching it in real time, it looked like Taves just kind of missed the net because it was hard to tell that Hellebuyck got a piece of it. But how do you miss from the crease? So, and like Chris said, like Canada's the better team. They had the majority of the chances. The States came out quick at the start, and then after that, it was all Canada for the last 2.5 periods, roughly. You put this in, say, a 5-game series, Canada wins this 4-1. Like if they were to play 5 games, Canada would win, 75% of the games roughly if this was played in a series. So, unfortunately, that's not how it goes. It's winner take all, one game, and we didn't get the result we wanted. Should have, but didn't. And you can look back and say, we should have had this guy, should have had that guy, and like we can say the same as well. However, next Olympics, you're going to see probably, I would say, a third of this roster is probably going to be phased out, just because they'll probably not be playing anymore, and then we'll have some newer guys playing. So it's gonna be interesting. And like Chris said, where were the Tachuks? They were invisible in this game, and they were supposed to be the guys that were gonna rally this team to victory. And as it turns out, they didn't have to. But yeah, they were nowhere's to be seen pretty much in the game. But anyways, congratulations to the Americans. I mean, they won one game. I'm sure Canada's going to come back even hungrier in 4 years. And obviously, gold is the expectation. One thing to add on about these games, not quite sure at the end when they're giving out these teddy bears. The Canadian players did not seem overly happy about getting something like that. And I know that they did this throughout the whole Olympics, but might want to do without something like that moving forward, but we'll see.
I saw the girls getting it, and I thought maybe that was a girls only thing until I saw the Nathan McKinnon reaction. I was like, oh my Lord, really, guys?
They were giving that out for all the Olympic events.
Yeah.
Must have been stress relief or something to calm them down. Here's a teddy.
Usually you don't have a whole lot of stress if you're winning an Olympic medal, but
depends on the events. In hockey, silver is a loss. Yeah. In other events, it's a silver is a win.
All right, let's go on to our third topic. And the reason why I tried to cut Mike off here, but he didn't say much, but that's good, is I really want to go into more detail about the two goalies here, Hellebuyck and Binnington. Now, is Hellebuyck, would he now be considered the best goalie in the league because of this whole Olympic thing? After watching the Olympics, what do you think, Mike?
I don't know if I would say he's the best goalie in the league. There's some goalies that didn't get to go, like Vasilevsky. He could right now he is the best goalie in the league. So you put anybody, I don't want to say you put anybody on that American team and they'd win, but Hellebuyck is definitely one of the top guys. Unfortunately, in the NHL, it's not showing as much of this year. mostly due to the fact that the team in front of him is struggling. So, but I would say he's probably top three. I don't know if he's number one. I would say Vasilevsky's number one if I'm picking, but he's definitely in the top three. So, um, and did you want us to talk about Bennington, or you want to wait?
Oh yeah, no, sure. You can go ahead and talk about Bennington.
Yeah. So I mean, Bennington, I don't know. He's got this knack of coming up and playing well in these type of tournaments. And if I was the St. Louis Blues, I'd be like, where is this guy when we're playing? Mind you, the St. Louis Blues are not Team Canada, with that being said. But
No,
you
far
look at the
from it.
numbers, it's like, night and day here. And Bennington made some pretty good saves in that tournament. So, I mean, he played really well. I was skeptical going in. I thought if he lost the first game, he might not have the job at the end, but he, got a shutout the first game, and he played great the whole way through. So, can't complain about him. Played well. So, you want to look at it and compare the two. Clearly, everybody will say Hellebuyck is the better goalie of the two, and I mean the numbers prove that. But can't fault Bennington for this one. He played well.
Chris, what do you think about these two goaltenders?
Yeah. So your question about is Hellebuyck the best? No, Vasilevsky is he is number one right now. If you look at
It
the last
has
couple
been
of
probably for
years,
a while. Yeah.
yeah. Well, if you look the numbers last couple of years, you could lean towards Hellebuyck, but Vasilevsky, I think when he's on his game, I think he is the top goaltender. Um, when it comes to Bennington, yeah, he made a tremendous save right early in the 3-on-3 in the final. Before the goal, he made a great save. Sometimes you want to say, okay, maybe Bennington's numbers is due to St. Louis Blues, but I've seen some highlights. He's given up really bad goals.
Yeah.
Right. So it is like, what? Why is he so? How can he get so focused for Canada but not get it done in St. Louis? That is a little bit of a mystery. What's going on there? Yes, the Blues aren't good, but he hasn't looked good either. But no, he did what he needed to for Team Canada to win a goal. Right. No one should be looking at him or blaming him or anything of that nature. Hopefully, that's not happening in social media. Not able to score a goal is why Team Canada lost. Had nothing to do with Bennington whatsoever.
I haven't, I didn't really read any stories. Anybody, and I mean, I dug quite a bit and I didn't see any stories about Bennington being the problem.
No.
There was a lot of stories before the whole thing started that he was going to be a problem.
They were like, what if he gets up a goal or two? Is it going to be a quick hook? Because this and that. But sounds like Cooper's, he was going to ride Bennington. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't see anything after the game about it being anywhere near Bennington's fault. I didn't see anything like that. And like you guys said earlier, I forget which one of you that said it. I think it was Chris, was mentioning that they missed breakaways. They had breakaways they couldn't score.
yeah.
Well, I didn't even get a shot on net. Really? I mean, yeah, the puck just kind of rolled there one time.
And Matt Boldy got the only breakaway for them, and boom, in the net.
Yeah.
But that was a
So-
tremendous individual play by him, right? 60 minutes and one tremendous play. That's it. That's all the Americans did, other than Hellebuyck's played in the back, right? I think I forgot to mention Tage Thompson was the only forward that really stuck out. Me watching the game, and then afterwards, the analytics also proved that he was the only real threat offensively from that team. So,
Well, he's having one hell of a year.
yeah. Well, he's had a few good years. Just Buffalo's been losing, but now they're winning. So
He had a good year last year too, but I mean the team was terrible, so it didn't matter how many goals he scored last year. I think he had 40 last
40
year.
something. Yeah.
42 or something. So, all right. Okay, well, let's go on to our fourth topic here for this evening. And I just kind of wanted, this is something that caught my attention, so I wanted to bring it up. And that is that there was a number of come from behind wins for Team Canada and a bunch of other teams here at the Olympics, the men and the women both. And more than what I see in the NHL, it just seems like, oh, just because you scored the first goal or you're ahead in the third period doesn't mean crap. And I'm just wondering, is there something about this format that created this? Or am I just making stuff up because it's such a short tournament and doesn't mean anything? Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, you're just nuts. Um,
Well, yes, I know
but
that.
no, it's the prize. You're in the Olympics, right? It kind of goes back to what I said about Slovakia and Czech and all these teams that have nobody, and yet they're playing as hard as they can.
The Swiss, I
It
was
doesn't
impressed
matter.
with the men's Swiss
The
team.
Swiss also, right? It didn't matter what the score was if they had a goal or two. Finland coming back on Czech Republic, was it? Weren't they down two
Switzerland.
nothing? They scored a couple late
Yep.
goals. Aho,
Switzerland.
a
It was
boy,
Switzerland.
Aho, and someone else. Yeah, right. It's
Switzerland.
the
Yeah.
Olympics. Doesn't matter if you're falling behind. You're still going to play your ass off until the game is done. And I think that's probably what you're seeing is more comebacks. NHL, that's paychecks. They fall behind 2-3 goals. Sometimes they're like, they're more concerned about what steakhouse they're going to afterwards. So
Mike, are you going to the steakhouse after?
Yeah, I'd love to. It's the same thing is with these games. I mean, and the talent that's there, you can be down by a couple of goals in the third period, but with the talent on these teams, you come back and win. Like the prime example was the Finland game against Switzerland when they were down by two, and then they scored
Swiss.
a couple really late in the game. It's funny. I was watching some of that game, and then I was out walking the dogs. So, and I saw Switzerland was ahead 2-0, and there was like 5 minutes left or whatever it was, and then all of a sudden it's 2-1, and then I watched the end of the game, and then they tied it with like hardly any time left, and then won the game. So, and the thing too is, when you have this much talent on a team and you pull your goalie, it's even more of an advantage than you'll see in the NHL because you got five first line players out on the ice when when the goalie's pulled. It's not like you got to throw some second line guys on. They're like legitimately five first line players that are out there to try to tie this game up. So that's probably plays a little bit into it as well, but it was great hockey. It's good to see these type of comebacks. It goes to show that these guys are working their butts off to try to do whatever it takes to win games. So like I said, looking forward to it again in 4 years. So where is the next one, anyways? Did they announce it?
France.
Oh, it's in France. That's right. Yeah.
It's in France. So, all right, okay. Well, let's go on to our hockey profit segment where I say that you two are the hockey prophet and it's hockey profits because now tonight there's two of you and last week there was only one of you.
Oh,
And it's my show and whatever I say goes. So, Chris and Mike, are you ready for some hockey profit segment questions?
Yeah.
yep.
All right, I think I've got a few good ones here. So, number one,
Ooh.
Chris, are things going to fall apart now for the Pittsburgh Penguins?
It's going to hurt a lot. 4
Tyler
weeks?
Crosby is toast,
Yeah, 4 weeks, right?
at least.
And then they made that trade kind of to save some cap space, or no, they took on salary. I just tried to took on salary. Yeah, even though they're doing very well, I'm sure Penguin fans want them to add. I think Dubas is still in that kind of rebuild, refresh mode. But losing Crosby now, historically, Malkin is taken to another level every time Crosby's been hurt. But Malkin's now 38, 39. I don't know if he can do
I
that.
believe he's a year older than Crosby. I think he's 39.
Yeah, so I don't know if he can do that at this age and with the cast of characters around him. But so I have to say, yeah, this hurts Pittsburgh without Crosby.
All right. Number two, Mike. Some content creators online here, I've seen on YouTube and stuff, have said that Canadians are, quote unquote, mad as hell and crying because Team USA beat Team Canada at their game. Were you mad as hell and crying, Mike, after the game the other day?
Isn't it obvious? Of course I am. Been wiping tears away since the game. No, I mean, like we already said, Canada dominated the game, just didn't come out on the right end of the score sheet. So anybody saying that's just being ridiculous. I mean, clearly, it's disappointing to not get the gold medal because we were the favorites to get it. But things happen, and these guys will be plenty motivated for the next one to rectify that.
Right, right. And it is a short tournament, and one game can mean a lot. And if you lose the wrong game, you're toast.
Yeah.
So, all right, number 3, Chris. What happened to Team Sweden, Chris? I mean, they were considered a favorite.
That's a
What
long time.
what do you think? What happened to them?
I can see afterwards there's a lot of NHL players complaining about ice time, right? I think the first game Forsberg played one shift or something.
He played one shift.
One shift, and yeah, so it seems like there's a disconnect with the Swedish coaching staff and these guys. But wow, they had a lot of talent. I was surprised. I expected more out of that team, Sweden. When you go through again, on paper, they look great. Like the Americans look great on paper, but it just didn't come together for the Olympics.
Yeah, I was really shocked by Sweden. I was expecting a far better performance than what I saw. So, but like you said, there's a lot of NHLers on there. I mean, those guys are good players, but man,
Yeah.
I think they just took the whole tournament off, or most of the tournament off. That's what it looked like. Okay, and number 4, Mike, finally, after it's all said and done, was the Olympic hockey worth all the changes and everything else that it creates for the NHL schedule? Is it worth it?
Well, here's the way I look at it. Is it worth it for the fans? Absolutely. Is it worth it for these NHL teams? Not so much. And the reason I say that is Crosby's out for 4 weeks. That's going to hurt the NHL team. Rantanen's hurt.
Rantanen's hurt, yeah.
Fiala's hurt. The teams that sent these guys, especially like when you look at the Kings, like Fiala, they kind of needed him to try to get into the playoffs. So now they need to try to get another piece to replace him, because they don't have, like, they just got Panarin. So basically getting Panarin is only going to slightly move the needle now instead of moving it significantly. Rantanen being out, that's going to hurt the chemistry on Dallas, because, I mean, they were rolling pretty good there.
They were.
Crosby, Pittsburgh, that's going to affect their playoffs now if they can make it or not. So Morrissey with the Jets, I mean, the Jets were already struggling. This is not going to help them whatsoever.
Oh, I'm sure they have replacements.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I saw Salamonson was playing last night. So, so this is, and not only that, but there was talk that they might trade Logan Stanley, but I think they probably need to keep him now, unless they just decide to totally blow it up. So yeah, for the fans, it's excellent. It's great. For the NHL teams, not so much. So unfortunately, that it is what it is, and this is how it's going to be, and there's not really much that they're going to do to change it. If they want NHL players to go, unfortunately, there will probably be casualties along the way.
Yeah, and there's no protection for these teams at all, is there?
No.
Nope.
They don't get any kind of money back guarantee on any of these players or anything. So
no,
it's
not
more
at
for
all.
the future, right? Getting, was it 28 million people watch the game, right? It's all about building the game. So for future revenue and players, but for short term, yeah, there's going to be casualties.
It's funny that you say that. It's all about the future of the game, because there was something else I wanted to go over here. And I'm glad that you mentioned that, Chris, because so I'm going to put my foot in my mouth here. I know some people are not going to be happy with this.
That's usual. Go ahead.
But I really think that the women's game lost an opportunity. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me here. Now, just hear me out, and you guys can tell me what you think. And if we don't like the way this sounds, I'll just cut it all out, because it is going to be controversial. So there you go. But I like to be a little bit controversial once in a while. But this is what I really think. I'm not just making this up. The women gold medal team, the American team, had a chance to go to the White House and promote the game, the league, everything, the PWHL, right? I mean, everything like that. And they didn't go. And I just think they had a chance to promote their own hockey, and I think they kind of blew it. So I did a little bit of digging. The first year of the PWHL, so I know we're talking Olympic hockey, and I'm crossing that over PWHL, but these players all play in the PWHL, or most of them do anyway. I think. Pretty
I
sure.
think Americans have a lot of college girls. Have
Right.
a lot of girls. Are they playing professional? No, I don't think they can they? They allow the college girls to play in that league?
I don't think so. No, I
No.
think they have to choose one or the other.
Yeah, I heard.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sure.
Well,
I'm sure a lot of them hate Trump, which they're 100% right.
well,
But
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I
but I
totally
think
get that.
but the Americans had a lot of college, university girls, and I heard that they had to get back to school, and I think that's why they decided not to go. I'm sure there's other factors, but I thought that was the biggest one. And so they do have a very young team, and I think a lot of them are still in university.
Okay. Well, all I was going to say is they could have promoted the PWHL, but if they're not playing in the PWHL, but
So,
still,
some are, but yeah, I think
yeah,
they got a lot of.
right.
I heard that was the main reason was school commitments, exams, blah blah blah.
Hello, editing John here. And after going back and doing some checking, 16 of the 23 players from Team USA, last place that they played was on a PWHL team. Now I'm going to show that in the list on the video once I get it all up and done. It says most recent team, 16 of the 23 was PWHL. So no, I don't think there's a whole lot of college players here. Obviously, there'd be some university. Ohio State University, I see, University of Wisconsin, University of Minnesota, University of Wisconsin. So, yes, a few of the players are going to university college, but 16 of the 23 do play in the PWHL. And I just wanted to put that out there to get the stats right. Something I should have looked up before I even said it. The only reason why I made the entire point is because 2 years ago, the PWHL lost $50 million. I couldn't find stats for the 2025 season. They never released how much money the teams made or lost, so you know they lost some, or they would have said if they would have made some. And I just think that it was a wasted opportunity to promote the league. You know, put your personal feelings behind you and promote the league while you have momentum behind you, because it's all about promoting the league. People will only pay for a product or will only support a product for so long if it's not making money. So, you know, and I want to see these ladies keep on playing. So I think they missed a chance going to the White House and promoting their league. That's my only point. If you disagree with me, well, too bad. You're allowed. Okay, now get back onto the show.
And I don't think that, the way Trump worded the invite really went over that well either, just from what he had said. Like the man, when he was invited the men's team, he's like, looks like we're going to have to invite the women's team too. Almost kind of
Well,
like,
yeah, but he had already invited the women's team for that, and they said no.
Oh, okay.
That was already a done deal.
They said it before. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know that when he had, brought it up to the men's team there, there was kind of,
yeah. Well, he was
in a joking way, whatnot, and
he was making a joke because the women didn't want to go, so that's why he said that. Yeah, he had already invited them, and they said no, so he already knew that they weren't going.
Okay, all right.
That's why he said that.
Okay.
But anyway, that was just something that I was thinking, like, because the PWHL in its first year lost $50 million. Now, you start up a new league, it's going to lose money. That's just the way that it is. You know, the NBA was not making money in its first year either. It was not making money for a lot of years. So, and they're going to lose money. They lost money last year and they're going to lose money this year too. They hope to turn a profit by 2031. You can only lose money for so long before people stop backing your league. And I just think that any chance you get a chance to promote it, I just think you got to take it. But anyway, that's just here or there. That's just what I was thinking. So I don't know if you guys want to speak about that at all, but you don't have to.
I was going to talk about the game itself because I did watch that.
Yeah, I did too.
With Canada. And from the previous games, that was probably Canada's best game. And again,
It was.
it's Olympics, and they played their butt because they don't have a stand. I know they have a PHW, whatever their cup. I don't know what they have.
PWHL.
But, I'll be ignorant of that part. I don't know what they're winning there. But the Olympics is what they're there for, right? That's what they wanted to win. and they played a tremendous game, and they were a few minutes away from winning that game. And
2 minutes out.
what an effort! Now I know the shots and goal were similar, but there's no doubt when the Americans got in the Canada's end, they stayed there for a while, right?
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
when
they
the
had
puck
more
and
control of
stuff.
the puck. Yeah.
Canada was more of a get a shot on net, maybe get a rebound, and then they're back out, right?
Right.
Americans were the better team, but Canada, whew, tremendous effort. And I did go through their roster, and they are, I didn't realize how old their stars were. 35, 35, 36. I think they had a 37 or 30-year-old defenseman, right? Their younger players were in the 25, 26. Yeah. They were given their last shot. Like Sarah Nurse was their star player 4 years ago, 8 years ago. Now I think she had a goal maybe in the entire tournament.
Hmm.
So there's no doubt Team Canada's going to look a lot different probably this winter when they come together. They have to get younger for sure because the
Absolutely.
Americans, most of their, I know they had Knight who scored the winning goal and she's 35, I think she's up there too. But that team is mostly driven by a lot of young talent. So
Yeah, I
um,
watched the game and I thought it was a really good game. I
yeah.
watched it. I thought it was good.
Now I don't want to be that guy, but it's hard to watch too. Like I watched it because it's the gold medal game, but the pace of play and the style, like it's hard to watch when you watch NHL hockey or Olympic hockey, and then you watch that, right? And you're just like, oh, this. I know the consent is like it's like watching midget boys hockey, and I'd say, yeah,
Yeah.
it's that type of level
Yeah.
when you're talking about passing and shooting and making plays. Um, but hey, it is what it is. It's women's hockey, and that's the best in the world. And you cheer for Canada, and you hope they come through. And again, their effort was outstanding.
Mike, do you want to say anything?
No, I mean, not really. I watched the game as well. I mean, a little disappointing for Canada to lose the way that they did. I mean, the goal, the defenseman kind of got burned pretty badly, and then they kind of chipped it in, and it went trickled through, and but like Chris said, like the States generally had good possession of the puck for the majority of that game, so and generally that's the team that wins. Unfortunately, it didn't work out in our favor on the men's side, but that's just kind of the way it went. But and I'll always watch like the women's hockey and that sort of stuff for like the big stuff. Like when I'd gone to Montreal last month or 2 months ago, whatever it was, they had there was a women's game actually in town when we were there, but it kind of conflicted with the schedule we were on. Because if not, I would have gone to see the game, but unfortunately, it wasn't able to just because of had other plans at that time. So, but yeah, so aside from that, I don't really have too much to say about it. So,
Well, I want to see the PWHL succeed. I want to see them
yeah,
make money by that 2031 goal that they have, and I hope that they do because I don't want to see someone pull the plug on this.
yeah. Well, I will tell you this. When I had actually looked at ticket prices for the game in Montreal, because I was thinking, it's not going to be super expensive, but it's $60 a ticket, which
Oh,
was
wow.
a little surprising that it was that high. I was thinking it would probably be in the $30 to $40 range, maybe, but yeah, the cheapest seat was like $60. So I was a little thrown off by it. Maybe it's because it's in Montreal. Maybe it was because the team they were playing. I don't
They're
know.
playing in the big arenas, right? They're playing
They're
in the
not in
big
the big
arenas.
arenas. They're
No,
in,
No,
not all their games are in the big arenas.
yeah.
Some
I
of them
thought
are.
was in Boston, weren't they in Boston Garden? And
Sometimes.
Perhaps, but I'm talking about the game in Montreal. They're at the it's called the Bell Center, but it's the same
it's not
name,
the
but
Bell
it's
Center.
not the Bell Center. It's in Laval. So,
Okay.
anyways, yeah. So I was a little surprised at the ticket price. I'm like, oh, geez, it's a little more expensive than what I was expecting it to be. So,
But these teams have to travel, right? They're in the States and Canada. There's a lot of expenses there, right? So I
Oh
can see
yeah. Well,
why.
that's why they lost the $50 million the
And
first
without a
year.
TV deal,
They need a
sponsors will only
TV.
do TV. Like sponsors only do so much. You need a TV deal, and
They
I
need a
just
TV deal. Absolutely. That's what they
that's going
need.
to be their struggle, I think.
Get the TV deal and you'll start making money.
All sports is based on TV. all sports, right?
Yes, and it's
Like,
like I said, I don't expect the PWHL to be making money in their first couple of years in the league. That's just not going to happen.
yeah.
It's just not how it works. So it takes X amount of years, but people will only support it or give them money for X amount of years too. That's the problem, right? So you need to promote it. They need to promote it as much as possible.
Mhm.
So, all right. Now, is there anything else you guys wanted to go over tonight's episode?
I just wanted to talk about the women's hockey final, but that was it. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Well, just kind of very briefly, I will say that, NHL is back and it started off pretty slow last night. The games, there was like no scoring for a good stretch of pretty much all of the games. One of the surprising things is the Vegas Golden Knights sat out 5 of their Olympians and still beat the Kings 6-4. So, and I watched some of that game and I'm like, I mean, Dorofeyev was the best player out there for Vegas. And, they got third liners and fourth liners that were moved up a line or two and they still, beat the Kings. So, I mean, the Kings did play their backup goalie, but, to lose 6-4, I don't know. They should be sending some
Comfort
alarms
tired?
there in LA over that. What's that, Chris?
Was Darcy Comfort tired? Was he tired from the travel and the partying?
I don't know. Anyway, they played Forsberg instead. So, and then now there's talk out of Florida that Barkov is rumored to be back soon. How soon? Who knows? But
bit too late. They're not making the playoffs.
It's going to be a struggle for them. They need to go on a big run here to get back into this. So they're 8 points back. They need to probably win at least 6 in a row just to get back in the race. So,
yeah, and I'm hoping that the Leafs will beat them tonight. So we'll see what happens. Or else the Leafs don't have a chance. They probably don't have one anyway.
There's actually some big matchups there this week. Is that there's a lot of teams that are playing the teams they're in contention with for these spots in the East. I think it's Buffalo and Boston and Columbus, and like they're all playing each other. So, this it's going to be kind of good because some of these teams are going to know where they're at, I guess, when it gets to the trade deadline next week.
Yeah, they only got 10 days, 9 days.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going to have a show before the trade deadline. And we may go over a few rumors next week in next week's show, and then we'll certainly talk about whatever.
I don't know if we'll have time, Whitey, to go through all the fits for Carolina, though. That's a lot of fits out there. A lot of fits.
Yeah, I know. Rantanen's going back to Carolina, right? Isn't that what's going on?
He would be a fit. I don't know why he said no.
Well, perhaps he wanted to win a Stanley Cup somewhere else, I guess.
Oh, I don't know. Carolina, I think, chances of winning are just as good as Dallas.
Oh, I think so too. All right. Well, guys, that's it for tonight. Like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you all next week. Later.
Later.